Council, my name is Mike Stevens. I've listened to everyone here this evening. They make a lot of valid points. I guess no one here has more experience in dealing with this issue than me. Because Hector's in the room, no. I'm one of the few people in Inglewood who have stood in Mr. Butt's situation, only a little differently. I was dragged into court. Now, my particular situation was one where I did live where I lived. And we proved that in Court of Appeals. And for it to be heard in the California Court of Appeals, it had to be valid. But the reality of it all is that during the time of the runoff between Mr. Franklin and I, the court ruled that I was not entitled to a new election. And therefore, Ms. Johnson was able to take my votes and run against Mr. Franklin. And she became the candidate against Mr. Franklin. Mr. Franklin subsequently won because of the very thing that we're talking about here, which is disenfranchisement of people who have voted for one candidate and then find that their votes didn't count. So here's my suggestion. Why don't we save the city a whole lot of time and a whole lot of money? Save Mr. Butts a lot of money so he doesn't have to spend the money that I spent. Just simply do this. Ms. Dunlap, just concede. Concede, let Mr. Tabor be mayor for the next, what, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Let him be mayor during that time. And then we tee it up, and we have an election in November. And the better candidate wins. Mr. Butts can campaign, all of you can campaign, and everyone saves money. Because when it all comes down to it with my situation, it came down to this. They ruled that yes, I did live there, but they said I didn't domicile there. Domicile. And they looked down and they said, the judge in Superior Court said, what's the address on your driver's license, Mr. Stevens? And that's what it came down to, the address on my driver's license. City charter doesn't say that. It says I had to live there. Had all my documents, had everything. But it was a good. But one thing I did learn here tonight, and I'm kind of convinced of this, I was prosecuted by the city of Inglewood, not by Ms. Johnson. Mr. Woosher was her attorney, Frank Woosher. Very good attorney, by the way. But I had a good one, too. He was former city attorney of Santa Monica. But bottom line is that it was overturned in the Court of Appeals. But what did stand was that I was not entitled to run for in the runoff. So I say just have another election, simply Ms. Dunlap concede, let's have another election and have the election in November and save everyone a lot of time and a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, this will be the last call for Rhonda Crowder and Revelyn Williams. We're moving on to Willie Agee, Hector Beltran, and Joy Brown Price.
My name is Willie Agee. I live in the city, beautiful city of Inglewood. Due to the fact that a week ago, Mayor Pro Tem permitted a gentleman to speak overtime, I'm requesting that you give the attorney for Mr. Butts an extra 3 minutes to complete his presentation.
And this is not a staff report that was given by the other gentleman. This is public comments. You may continue.
I still say you need to give him some more time.
Duly noted.
What is the problem here? It's a power struggle between the establishment and someone that don't belong to the establishment. That's the bottom line. The same thing happened to former mayor of this city. Was railroaded by 3 of the same city council people that's sitting here now. Now they're attempting to railroad Mr. Butts. They don't like competition. There is no way, I believe, that the people in the city of Inglewood would vote for Mr. Tabor over Mr. Butts. There is no way. I don't think the people in this city are that far behind times. I want a leader. I don't want my vote that I cast for Mr. Butts to go to waste. I've already voted absentee ballot for August the 17th. I'm a combat veteran. You gonna deny me my right to vote? That's what you're telling me. Now you gonna sit up there and say you represent me, and me being a combat veteran, and you're gonna deny me the right to vote. There is no way I would vote for Ms. Dunlap or Danny Tables. No way in the world. I want somebody that's gonna get this city back the way I would like to see it. I believe Mr. Butts can do that very thing. My opinion, there's only one man on this dais that's representing this city. There's 3 people up there that I don't know what they're representing, but they're not representing this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hector Beltran, Joy Brown Price, Michael Bimbo. Hector, go right ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Carl Sanders, City Council members. I come before you as a former candidate for City Council District 1 and citizen and resident of this city. My interest is to second what Ms. Zambrana used to say. I think I cannot say it better than she said, that if we have some skepticism about the fairness of this election, controversy, which is the fact, we ought to think this over and consider that some of the members of this city council should abstain because they have a conflict of interest inherited in this election. I don't know how we can select the best person. I am not a judge. So therefore, I'm humble to render my opinion because it is just simply one opinion. And there are many other people who their voice is more relevant, but the voice of the people speaks loudly when they vote. And this is the most unique aspect of a democracy, which it is that we ought to be respected in how we vote and for who we vote. Otherwise, we would not be respecting the democracy principles of a constitutional republic. And therefore, we would be violating the most honorable legacy of the founding fathers of this country that inherited to us this tradition and this noble right. So therefore, again, I would insist that my only concern here is whether conflict of interest is not part of this decision and whether those who are involved in the election should abstain from deciding what to do next. Thank you.
Thank you. Again,